It took up to 3 days for the local organizing committee to get all participating nations to Asaba. Kenya, Egypt, Burkina Faso, Namibia and part of the South African team finally settling down in the host city. All this in the wake of a logistical nightmare that saw hundreds of athletes stranded at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos due to lack of connecting flights. The effect is that the LOC and the Confederation of African Athletics have been forced to make adjustments.
There's already a change in the program which affects a runner. You imagine the muscles, they would have warmed up, the conditioning. Athletes who spent hours relaxing at the airport in Lagos, and then you throw them at the deep end less than 24 hours later. It's a bit tedious, and that clearly affects the teams.
Even after arrival, teams and journalists spent quite some time seeking registration and accreditation, some of the athletes having to take to the track just hours after landing in Asaba.
Definitely, psychologically, it has affected our team, but we have to talk to them and say this is how things are. We have nothing to do. And it's not only us. Actually, all the teams have been affected, maybe apart from the Nigerian team, since they are the host.
3 days of nowhere to train, nowhere even to stretch, just staying at the airport with jet lag and all that. So I think possibly it will adversely affect the athletes.
Thomas Olukayode is the head of media and publicity subcommittee of the local organizing committee. He says the host nation is not entirely to blame for the logistical nightmare.
Let me shock you that there was a day about 4 days ago we were sitting here in the stadium and athletes and officials from Equatorial Guinea just walking to the stadium. They said they flew from Equatorial Guinea to Port Harcourt and came here by road. They didn't even tell anybody. They didn't inform us. Assuming there are security challenges. Another problem that led to the travel challenges was that some of the flights were delayed at their point of origin.
When the championships finally started on Wednesday afternoon, Ethiopia won the first gold and silver medals. Jemarimo won the 10,000 meters gold, while his compatriot Andumalak Belihu took silver. But it was Uganda that grabbed the headlines, Timothy Toroitich winning bronze for the country's first medal for 6 years in these championships. The athletes taking part in these championships have had to switch focus to the competition in spite of the challenges they have gone through. There is more at stake here, apart from just winning the championship medals and bragging rights. The Confederation of African Athletics will select the best runners out of this to represent the continent at the IAAF Continental Cup in Czech Republic come September. Edmond, Nyabola, CGTN, Asaba, Nigeria.
Well, let's get you the very latest now from the African Athletics Championships in Asaba. CGTN's Edmond Nyabola is covering the event for us and joins us from there live now. Of course, Edmond, it's been a very difficult few days for these athletes. Has all of the travel chaos ended now? I mean, we know, of course, the games got underway yesterday, but is basically the competition schedule up to speed?
Yes, Lindy, the events, of course, having started on Wednesday afternoon, forcing the rescheduling of some of the morning session events that were meant for the opening day. Those have been spread across the remaining 4 days. In fact, the morning session that has just ended here right now had some of the events that were meant to be held yesterday. The decathlon, the 400 meters flat, the 400 meters hurdles heats as well had to be held this morning. Some of them will be held this afternoon when the afternoon session begins at about 12:45 GMT here at the Stephen Keshi Stadium. So they've had to make adjustments to be able to accommodate the athletes who are stranded, at the airport and trying to find their way here to be able to compete in those events that they had missed, that had to be rescheduled. That, of course, the athletes and the teams, the coaches here saying has affected their momentum, has affected how they will approach these races. Some of them thought they would be competing in the morning when the temperatures are a bit favorable. They will have to compete now in the afternoon when it's an average of about 31 degrees here in Asaba. So all these, of course, having to affect the athletes, but they're professionals. They have to get down to work. They have to do it regardless of the challenges that they've had to face.
Indeed. And Edmond, just confirm for us, are all the athletes now in Asaba? We, of course, heard reports that some had chosen to drive from Port Harcourt to Asaba. Tell us more about this.
There were actually teams that arrived in Lagos at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, and upon finding out that there were no flights from Lagos to Asaba here, they had consider alternative routes. That includes Equatorial Guinea, that includes Morocco. Ethiopia had to go all the way to Benin City and then drive here for an average of about 2 hours from Benin City, whether it's Port Harcourt also or Owerri, 2.5 hours to get to Asaba because, well, the issue of the flights, connecting flights from the Lagos International Airport. As you heard from that report, Olukayode Thomas, the head of the publicity and media here, saying that they were here someday at the stadium here, and then Equatorial Guinea just arrived from nowhere and told them that they had driven from Port Harcourt to here, that they did not send the travel itinerary early enough for them to be accommodated in the flights or whatever means of transport they were going to use from Lagos to this place. So some of them had to find alternative routes. Morocco, we know, did that. Ethiopia as well did that, just to be able to be here on time for the championships.
Well, Edmond, let's hope from now on we can just focus on what is happening on the track. Thank you so much for joining us there live from Asaba in Nigeria.